Good evening and welcome to the FiTT Show, financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby P. Kinzer,
And I'm Thomas Doty.
and we are the FiTT Show, helping our folks get their finances in shape. How you doing, Thomas Doty?
I am so happy to be alive, my brother. How you
And
doing?
I'm so happy that you are alive, man,
You
and
doing
that you are
okay?
in my life. Dote, you've been such a bonus to my life for over 53 years.
Man, that's scary. that,
That's truly,
that means we're old, man.
no, I take that back. It's 50 years. Yeah, right out of high school. 50 years from
Yeah,
that first
you
day I
came up
saw.
you came up in '75 for
Right.
because you're
Yep.
gonna start spring of '75.
Yep. Recruiting trip, and my life has never been the same since.
I was your host for that weekend. That was cool.
Yeah, that was real cool, and that. But I thought about that today. 50 years, though.
Long time, brother.
That's a long time, bro. And so we're here, ladies and gentlemen, to give you some financial knowledge, some tools that you can use. And what we try to do, we're not about financial information. It's a part of it is it's just exposing you to some information, but we're about financial education, hoping that you can use this information to build your critical thinking on the decision making choices that you make financially and that you develop good financial habits. So that's our thing. We try to give you stuff that you can apply to your everyday life. And we would like for you, if you have any questions or anything that we're talking about, please put them in the comment box because that is very important. That's where, we get mileage to reach more people. That's how Facebook works. So we appreciate if you do that. Put comments in the box, or you have an opinion about something we're talking about, or you have a topic you'd like for us to talk about at another show. We will do that also. So please keep that in mind. We also like for you to click on the like button because there is a lot of how we reach a lot of people. And the heart button, hit that as many times as you want. That helps us tremendously. And today is March 26th. Don't we almost done with a quarter.
Yes,
January, February, March. Yeah, almost getting ready to head into the second quarter. And we've been dropping a lot of knowledge these days, ladies and gentlemen, and we thank you all for being on. We This is our 234th show. That's 4 years straight. Last week's show was called "Keep Your Cool in Volatile Times." We hope that was helpful. And this week's title is "Financial Spring Cleaning." That's a good little term, though. Financial spring cleaning for 2026, and we're going to get into that. But before we get into that, we are going to get into the topic that we start at the top of the show, which is
we got
interest,
to
everybody.
be a disclaimer first, my brother.
And you know what? That's why we work good together. We just want to make sure everybody knows that we're not qualified financial advisors, meaning we're not licensed, so we have no fiduciary responsibility. But we try to do make sure we give you accurate information. But we are not financial advisors or financial planners. So we just want to make that note very clear. Thank you, Dope. But we do, if you want to get us on the sidebar and ask us some, questions specifically, we might can help you there. But we stay away from um, actually selling actual products and things
Or,
like that.
or recommending.
Or yes, yeah, or recommending, mainly, yeah, recommending or selling, but definitely recommending products. So with that, Dope,
Yeah, and mostly it's hard to recommend unless you know somebody's entire situation. That's really the issue. I mean, we aren't certified because we don't want to be. We both retired and just interested in passing on information. So it's not like we couldn't. I think you were for a while, weren't you, Bob?
yeah, I was licensed. I was a
Yeah,
licensed stockbroker and investment advisor.
yeah. But at this point in our lives, we're just interested in passing on knowledge because we both have we often talk about it. We both understand how complicated
investment
it is
advisors.
and how just a few mistakes or a few changes can make a significant difference in how much wealth you have or how much wealth you maintain. And so all we're trying to do is pass on knowledge and hopefully what we're saying can put you on the right path to
Here
making
we
money,
go. Okay.
get you going and making money.
So we had problems there for a minute.
Are we okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you see?
It's coming up slowly but surely.
It took a little while, but we there.
There it is. Okay. Another ugly week. I was hoping to have some good news, but with the war going on and the oil being blocked in that strait over in Iran is creating havoc. And as you can see, the S&P is down 2% or 129 points. It's actually down 5% year to date. The NASDAQ it took a bigger hit. It's down 3.1%. It's down 8% year to date. Now let's talk about Microsoft. Microsoft is down a bunch. That's one of my major holdings. And I could get nervous, but I'm not. And I actually did some research to find out why is Microsoft falling so much. It's dropped significantly in 2026. If you look at the year to date, it's down a bunch. And it's not down because of any fundamental business reasons. It's more because of investor expectations versus reality. So the business is not collapsing. Revenue and profits are still growing, but still there's several concerns that are causing the stock to really take a hit. First of those is their cloud growth is slowing. And that's it's not growing. It's just not growing as fast as investors expect. And so they think it might be near maturation, which means it's not going to continue to grow in the future. The other big issue with Microsoft and several of the other AI companies is that they are having massive capital spending. And the market thinks that's eventually going to hurt margins. They're pouring tens of billions of dollars in the AI infrastructure. I mean, they're building data centers, they're buying chips, on and on. Their capital spending actually jumped 66% year over year. It's 37.5 billion in one quarter. That's crazy. And so investors are worried, is that going to pay off? Will their profits get squeezed because of all the money that they're putting into it? And the really big concern is, are we going to see a return on all of this AI investment? So everybody's questioning that. Again, that's pulling down a lot of the AI stocks. And it's going to have to generate a bunch of revenue in order to justify all these billions of dollars that have been spent. And some analysts actually think that the profits may be too optimistic. So it could be an uncertain payoff. And finally, Microsoft has a heavy reliance on OpenAI. So about 45% of Microsoft's future revenue is going to be tied to OpenAI. And that's a big hump to be tied to one particular, let's call it segment of your business. And some of their other businesses are also slowing. PC market is slowing down. Gaming revenue has declined. And those are small. It's not really a big issue. But again, it's kind of adding on to all the angst about Microsoft. So you got these high expectations, and it's kind of a valuation reset. And if you look at what the stock had done prior to this year, it had a pretty healthy run up. So expectations were extremely high, and even good earnings and not great earnings can cause a sell off. Okay, and that's pretty much what's happened to them. And so, along with the other tech stocks, they've all taken a hit this year, but Microsoft is down again because of the growth. It's slowing.
Hey, no.
Huh?
Keep talking. I have to step away for a quick minute.
Okay. AI is expensive and expectations are high. Now, what am I going to do personally? I'm debating. I still feel it's a strong company with a very positive future. But in the short term, I think it's going to continue to be choppy. I don't expect it to recover anytime soon. But longer term, I think Microsoft is one of those core companies that's buy and hold forever. I'm still way up. I'm not up as much as I was, but I'm still up pretty significantly on the stock. So I'm going to hold on, even though it's down 24% year to date. Apple's up slightly. They've had a little bit of good news to kind of buck the trend of the AI stocks going down. Nvidia is down 4.5%. Google's actually down a hump for some of the same reasons that Microsoft is down. Pfizer's up slightly, and Boston Scientific is pretty much flat. So all in all, another terrible week on Wall Street, mainly due to obviously the war in Iran, the gas situation, and you can see it at the pump and with how much gas is going up. And so until that is rectified, because all the spending, and nobody talks about the deficit, but that's what they're putting into the military, and this war is crazy. The tax cuts are crazy. It's and inflation might rear its ugly head again, and so market's going to be choppy for a little while, you guys. Bob, I think you're frozen, bud. If you're, are you there? I'm not sure if he's there now. All I see is he's frozen. So we'll hold on a second and make sure the system is okay. If somebody can tell me if they can hear me, I'd appreciate it. I know to check the comments now. I don't know if I can be heard, but I know Bob is frozen. Bob? Oh, good. I can be heard. That's good to know. Okay. I'm not sure why he's frozen. I hope it's not a issue with the system because it's giving us.
I'm back though. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're frozen on the screen.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to take care of something else, but you can hear me, so that's good enough.
Okay, Doug. I just finished the market update. I didn't have any good news, and I expect it to continue to be choppy as long as this war is going on. And even once the war is over, I'm not sure we are out of the woods with inflation, with some of the other issues we're having. So time to be cautious. I always think it's a time to look for opportunities. I'm not sure Microsoft is a good buying opportunity right now. I think it's more of a long-term play versus something that's going to go up in the short term. Again, I don't believe in timing, but by the same token, I always look for bargains on stocks that have taken a big hit. I think Microsoft's going to continue to be choppy for a while until this whole AI thing is a little more clear as to what the benefits are going to be for all these billions of dollars that are being spent.
Yeah, and call you what's his name? Notre Damus. You said you felt this market that this downturn was coming, and
Yes.
it seemed like it's here though.
Yeah, this war is just making it worse, Bob. It really is. And
Yeah.
it's funny. Everything you read, it's like if you have money, if you're fairly well off, you're doing okay. Because the market has had a pretty good run up, even though it's slightly down now. If you look at what it's done the last several years, most people who were invested, pretty heavily have generated a whole bunch of wealth. And so I think everybody else is struggling, but people who've invested in the stock market or who are somewhat wealthy are still doing okay. But the average person, you look at all the companies that are laying people off, and I said that kind of in jest a few weeks ago that if AI works, a lot of people are going to get laid off, and if it don't work, a lot of people are going to get laid off. But that's really true, and companies are still laying off people left and right. Every day you read about some either a factory shutting down or somebody's having layoffs, and it's I think you see a lot of hesitation in hiring, so you aren't getting a lot of job growth. Things are tough right now, truly are.
Yeah, that's why if you did good planning and budgeting and uh, portfolio management, you should be okay because you should be able to withstand any future shocks from the market. And by the way, though, I think a bear market, meaning when the market's down, that they declare that I think it's 2 or 3 consecutive quarters before they determine a bear market. And same with a bull market. It's like 2 to 3 consecutive quarters. They call it a bear market. So we're not totally in a bear market yet. We've been a couple of weeks in the down, but it's about 2 or 3 quarters, if I remember, that it actually qualifies as a bear market. So
Yeah, and this war has just complicated everything. I think that's a lot of the issue right now with
yeah,
gas. Yeah,
yes,
gas messing everything up.
yeah, and then and this and another thing that's messing up everything though, not getting political, is just the fact, but they what is it called when they holding out? Um, God, you know what I'm talking about, though.
I usually do, but this time I don't.
No, the Congress and the Senate and the
Oh, the
Congress
shutdown?
shutdown. We're in a shutdown. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah, TSA.
Yeah, and TSA is not getting paid, and now messing with travel and everything. But yeah, yeah, that's the other thing that's affecting big time. People don't even realize that, but I think it's something like 30 days or something now, something
Yeah,
weird.
and you know what else, Bob? With whenever there's an opportunity to raise prices,
Yeah,
people take it. Most companies take advantage of it because right now nobody's surprised to see price increases. So if you have a business, and we all know that greed is the thing that drives our country, and so when you know people are receptive to a price increase, you are going to take advantage of that as a business. So you see a lot of things going up, some justified, like airlines and the amount of gas they use and how big expense gas is for the airline. So I don't know if you checked airline tickets lately, but those prices are going up like crazy along with your gas prices. But that trickle effect is affecting so many things right now. And again,
yeah,
other companies that aren't affected are still taking this opportunity to raise prices and increase their revenue. So
and inflation is creeping up too, though.
yeah, when prices go up, that's when
Prices going up,
inflation is.
and
That's
then the unemployment, because you know how it works, right? When unemployment is down, that favors the businesses, right? Because people can't find a job, so they're more likely to stay where they are, stay put. So that falls into the equation too. But it's several different factors that causes these downturns. So
and it's funny because some companies are making people come back to work, hoping some of them quit. You know,
right, yeah,
it's another way to lower their payroll without announcing a cut because it,
that's
it, it's been proven that you don't need to be in the office to get your job done, right?
yes, yeah, that's true though.
And
Yep,
companies are making folks come back to work full time. Several big companies have announced that. And I think the hope is that some people will say, I ain't going back. I don't know
right.
what you're going to do, but you're not going back to work.
And I don't know, well, if this is going to affect anything, but they just moved the draft up to 42 years old, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they just moved it from 35 to 42 now. I'm like, can you imagine about going? I'll do with a bad back, bad knees at 42. Another thing is though they lifted if you had like a marijuana charge or a drug charge, you could not join the service. They lifted that. So we're gonna have a bunch of old mugs and stoners going. God damn. Anyway, I digress. Next, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the cryptocurrency market, which is taking a beating too, but it's only about down about 2% total, $2.4 trillion. That's still up there, down 60 billion. It's at $68,556 for the number one coin, which is the Bitcoin, but that's down 3%, and that's like $1,912. That's a big hit. But as you know, this goes ups and downs. It's very speculative. And once again, I don't know what's going on with Binance and Ripple because Ripple is a stable coin, yeah. And they keep flipping the fourth and fifth place with Binance for some reason. But Ripple is down 6%. And like I said, that is Ripple is the XRP. Yeah, that's a stable coin if I'm right. No, 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 no. I'm sorry, that's a smart contract. Tether and USDC is stablecoin, excuse me, but it's a smart contract. We're supposed to make it a little bit better because it has a contract and some parameters, but it's still highly speculative. So, as we always say, if you're into cryptocurrency, remember there's over 45,000 cryptocurrency, but only 9,000 are active, and that's a lot right there. 9,000. So be careful, and we just report on the top six and we sort of lean towards Bitcoin because that was the first one, and it seemed to be the one that's most popular and most stable. But just make sure if you're in this particular market that you're using money that you are willing to lose. That's all we say. So, dope. Let's get into. I hope people can see me because I'm looking at on my phone. Um,
You're in and out. You're
so,
not you're
but
not frozen right now.
yeah, I'm frozen on my phone. I could look at my phone. I'm frozen on the phone, but people can still hear me. So, you know, that have no control over that. It's all about the server. And I have paid my bill. So, dope. Financial spring cleaning for 2026. What are we talking about?
It's just a good time. It's just a good time to kind of take a look, check your finances, make sure everything is in good order. And there's some tasks we're going to mention that you should do if you haven't done them this year. This is a good time to get into it. And we're starting to stress to you that managing, building wealth and maintaining your wealth is not a job, but it takes some work. But the payoffs are definitely worth it. And so worth it. So a lot of people start the year by making adjustments and making changes, but now we're almost one quarter through the year. And so now is a good time to take the spring plunge and jump in and straighten some things out and make sure everything in your financial life is working as it should.
Yeah, and this it's just like any other type of spring cleaning that you do. Like if you do in your own house, right? It's like you know when you opening the windows and sweeping the dust out, rotating the mattress and your wardrobe. While you're freshening up your home, consider ways to also tidy up your finances. You may be surprised at what's hiding in your accounts, inboxes, your financial documents, even your tax returns. So set aside some time to organize your money matters, check on your financial goals, and make adjustments for a fresh start to the rest of the year. So today we're going to discuss some helpful steps to get you started.
Yeah, and again, realize that small changes, the things we're talking about doing here, when you start extrapolating them over 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, the effect can be significant on your wealth. So the first thing we want to talk about is looking at your withholdings for your taxes. Now, the first thing, I hope you got your doggone taxes done. Please get your taxes done. They should have been done back in February, but if they haven't, get them done as soon as you can. And
Why?
so, well, one, so nobody can steal your steal your tax return and file under your name. Number two is if you're getting a refund, you don't want the government holding on to your money. It's your money. You can get it and do something positive with it because it doesn't draw any interest while it's with the government. And so this is the perfect time to get that done and behind you. But the thing we're going to talk about is making sure W your withholding reflect where you want it to be at the end of the year. So if you've completed your taxes, you know exactly where you stand. You can take into account any changes that are going to happen this year as far as if you're getting a raise or if you going to sell some stocks or whatever your situation might be. You can adjust your withholdings so that you end the year closer to what you're going to owe. You don't want to get a big refund. You don't want the government holding your money for the whole year when you can get it monthly and do positive things with it. I'll cringe when I hear somebody say, "Oh, I'm getting a big tax refund." That's your money, okay? Don't let them hold your money. Get it and invest it, pay off debt with it. Just do something positive with it instead of letting the government hold on to it. If you owe taxes, you need to adjust your withholdings to make sure you have enough withheld so you don't end up having an under withholding penalty and interest. So get on top of your taxes, make sure your W-4 is updated. W-4 or W-7? I think it's W-4.
W-4.
Yeah, make sure it's up to date and reflects where you're going to end up. If you had somebody do your taxes, you can get them to help you figure out what your withholding should be. And you have to sit back and look what's going to change this year to next year and make any adjustments you need to in order to make your withholdings reflect where it should be. And finally, if you didn't get your IRS PIN like we recommended, get that done too. Get that out of the way. Get that IRS PIN. That's just another level of security. And believe me, in these times, you need all the security you can get because the scammers are working overtime.
Yep. So that's if you did get your taxes in for the rest of the year, make sure you get that PIN number.
Yep.
You know, because there's some tricky people out there. You all, they don't mean good. Though you need to increase your retirement plan contributions in 2026. Now, this year's maximum is $24,500 for regular contributions, and for catch-up contributions, that's 50 and over. It's an additional $8,000, so you can put away $32,500, which is really great. And keep in mind, if you earn more than $150,000 per year from your current employer, all catch-up contributions must be after tax. They must be contributed to a Roth 401k for you to get the benefit from that. And if your company doesn't have a 401k plan, consider making a contribution to an IRA. And this year, the contribution limit is $7,500 plus up to $1,000 in addition if you're over age 50.
Say it again, Bob.
For our IRA, contribution is $7,500,
Right.
and the catch up over 50 is $100.
Okay, got you. Okay, next thing you need to do is look at your investment performance, and if you need to adjust it, adjust it. If you're using an advisor, take a look at the last several years and make sure they're meeting your expectations. Now, you should have some expectations as far as what your performance should be if you're paying someone. If you're not paying someone, look at your performance and determine maybe you need to be paying someone to help you get to where you want to be. Okay. The market has been booming the last several years. If your performance isn't good, then something needs to change. And this is the time you can take a look and say, hey, do I need to make any changes in what I'm doing? If you need to rebalance, if you, for example, if you want to be 60-40 stocks and fixed instruments, and the stock market's up to 70, you might want to rebalance and get that back to your the risk level that you want to be. And so now is a good time to do that. You don't want to make any panic decisions. We've told you that so many times. You don't want to panic here, but you always want to rebalance and make sure your portfolio reflects the risk level that you're comfortable with. Okay. And as you rebalance, make sure you take into account the tax effect. If you decide to sell some stocks, make sure you understand what the tax effect will be if you have capital gains. If you have any stocks that you've held for a while that aren't performing as you think they should, and they are right now in a loss position, you may want to consider selling those at this time. Okay. Not in a panic mode, but over several years, if they just haven't performed, now might be the time to take that loss, especially if you have some gains to offset with those losses.
Kitty said she checked her TSP and 401k balances today, and it's $11,000 less than February the 28th. And you know what that says to me, Kitty? If you could lose that much, you must have made that much. So don't panic, but it's up to you. If you can't stomach it, do what you have to do. But, that's how the market goes. But remember, if you lost that much, you might have made probably twice that much, actually, without even looking at your account.
Hey Bob, and don't say you lost, because you don't lose anything until you sell. It's on paper. The market goes
Good point.
up,
Good
down.
point. Good
Don't
point.
don't. It's just on paper. You didn't lose anything yet. It's this too shall pass.
Yeah. And remember, that's not the money that you put in, okay? That's just, earned. But that's a good thing. Unreal. That's why they call it unreal loss, though.
Unrealized, yeah.
And oh, Kitty said no panic at all. Good way to go, Kitty. Because what people didn't know about Mitt Romney, man, he had so much millions and unrealized losses that were getting on him. But he's like, hey, I didn't take none of it out. So yeah, though, I'm glad you made that point. That's a very good point. It's not a loss until you take it out. Um, Flexible savings accounts, FSA accounts, a little bit different than HSA, health savings account. The flexible savings accounts are different than the health savings accounts. The health savings account, if you did use all the money, you can roll it over to the next year. But the flex savings account, you can't. So you should need to cash out, because you'll lose that money if you don't use it. The flex savings accounts, at work, having depleted your previous year's fund, then, there's hope for you because your employer may offer a grace period of 2.5 more months to use the leftover balances from last year. And they may allow you to roll it over to a certain amount to be used in 2026 claims, but that's on your employer. But in general, that money in the flexible savings account, which you can use for, eyeglasses, healthcare things in your home, like putting in ramps, accessible ramps and things like that. Now, if you're struggling to find ways to use your leftover flexible savings account, think about reducing your contributions, during the next year enrollment period.
Okay, the next thing we want to talk about, and we tell you this all the time, but check your credit history. This is a good time to do that. Review your credit history. Make sure nobody's opening any credit cards account in your name without your knowledge. And especially if you're planning on applying for a mortgage or a home equity loan, or you're buying a car, make sure your credit's straight. This is a good time to pick up one of your 3 free credit reports per year. You get one from each of the three reporting bureaus. You can get one per year. So you don't want to ask for them all at once. You want to stagger them throughout the year so you get one every 4 months. And that way you can make sure that nobody's doing anything funny in your account. And also look and see if you have credit cards that you aren't using. If you may want to consider closing a credit card just to eliminate that possibility of the information being stolen. But just realize the things that affect your credit score, okay? Closing credit cards, unfortunately, can cause your credit score to go down because the way it works, the more credit you have, the better risk you are. So when you start closing credit accounts, for some reason, they think that lowers your credit score. What you can do instead of closing a credit card, you can ask the issuer to freeze that card so nobody can use it. But again, check your credit history. Make sure you have all your credit cards have alerts to let you know when a purchase is made, debits and credits. You want to know any activity that happens on your credit card. Make sure you know when it happens and keep on top of your credit history. Stay on top of it.
Yes, and Modus Thing said it's never good to close a credit card because that can affect your the limit that you have, that not your limit but the score. Because if you have,
Yes.
say, 4 credit cards and each of them, one has a $10,000 credit limit and one has a 5 and one has a 3. If you close the $10,000 one out, now your credit limit is really $8,000, and if you go over 30% of that, your score can be decreased. So that's why you keep certain cards open. But remember, if you keep them open, make sure you go out there and put a credit freeze out there, so nobody can, even though you're not using it and you're not keeping track of it, at least it would be difficult for somebody to do identity theft. So just want to make that special note. Now here's another one. You got to create an online account with the Social Security Administration. Now, and you need to tell the young people this too. Even if you're years from retirement, you should set up an online account at My Social Security, because once you've logged in, you can also review your earnings record for potential errors that could reduce the benefits that you receive. And the other thing is, they do make errors, believe it or not. Like your employer can report the wrong earnings using the wrong Social Security number, or because you changed your name and didn't report it to Social Security, that can affect your credits. You also can use an online account to determine whether you've earned enough credits to qualify for Social Security benefits. A lot of people don't know this; they just assume it, though. But most people need 40 credits to be eligible, and you earn up to 4 credits a year. And the amount you need to earn to receive credit is adjusted each year. It's based on what is earned. So in 2026, you must have wages and or self-employment income of at least 1,800, $1,890 to earn 1 credit, and you must earn 7,560 to get 4 credits. That's for those younger people that are starting out. They need to know, but most people didn't know this. But creating an online Social Security account also prevents identity thieves that I'll talk about, because they actually don't steal a lot of people's Social Security number and redirect the benefits to the account that they control. So Social Security allows you only one account for each Social Security number. So creating an account will protect you, forever. Well, mostly from any type of fraud, because you can only have one Social Security number in one account. Now, if you set up an account with Social Security before September 2021, you need to go online and transition it to the new site is login.ssecure.gov. login.gov, login.gov, and you can go in and out your Social Security. You can go in and out your IRS. That's a general account now that is really making it more accessible for you to keep up with change, and it has simplified the process of signing in to secured accounts. You know, you don't need to create a new Social Security account to make the change either.
Okay. Next thing I want to remind you to do is review your account beneficiary or beneficiaries, however you want to say it. And it's always good to make sure that you have the money going to where you expect it to go. Because if you don't designate a beneficiary, the money goes to your estate, it go to probate, then don't nobody get paid but the lawyers. And so if you designate a beneficiary, they'll inherit the assets even if your will says something else. Okay, so make sure you have that up to date. Make sure if you got an ex-spouse or a child you disowned and you don't want them one to receive any of your money, make sure you take them off. And one thing I noticed, Cash App, I bought my Bitcoin through Cash App, and it's grown to a nice little level, but they don't have beneficiaries. So that's kind of tricky. So what you have to do is make sure somebody has access to your account, okay? And make sure whoever, whether it's your trustee or your child or your spouse or whoever it is, make sure they know how to get to your Cash App account and that you've left a roadmap for them to be able to navigate to all the accounts that you do have, whether it's checking accounts, savings accounts, 401ks, IRAs. Make sure you've designated someone to be able to access those. And most of those have where you can designate a beneficiary, but Cash App does not. So if you have money in Cash App, make sure somebody knows how to access that. I'm not sure about Robinhood because I don't have any money there, but if you have any Bitcoin accounts or any place you keep money, make sure someone can access it if something were to happen to you.
Man, that's really good advice though, because I've known that's happened to a few people. Um, and you need to document those things too. Make sure you keep better documents. You need to document your end of life decisions. What does that mean? It's important for people of all ages, to make sure they've documented their wishes should they become medically incapacitated. Not necessarily gone from here, but you could be, incapacitated. And at the very least, assign someone you trust as a healthcare proxy who can make these decisions on your behalf and give someone a financial power of attorney to handle your affairs. And make sure that the beneficiaries, like those said, for your accounts and life insurance policies are up to date, and that it still reflects your wishes. And everybody should have a medical directive, should you become, and you can get those off a line and just get it signed, and just you need a witness to witness it, a second person to witness it, and those documents you can have. That's a legal document, the medical directives. So you need to think about that, y'all. Heaven forbid that something should happen to either one of us, but you just never know, And I've seen it tear families up because of it.
Okay, you guys know we're not going to talk about spring cleaning and I not talk about protecting your online security. That's kind of standard for me. You have to. We've talked about how treacherous it is out there now. So you might want to consider changing your password. Make sure all your passwords are safe and secure, that you're not using anything that's easily guessed by someone. Make sure it's difficult for a hacker to figure out. And make sure you use capital letters, lowercase letters, numbers, special characters. Try not to reuse passwords. So if somebody hacks one, they can hit all your stuff. And when possible, use two-factor authentication. That's going to help put another level of protection. Okay, if you use a strong password, then you add that to it. It'll be very difficult for somebody to get your information. Uh, in some cases, they'll let you use a one-time passcode where you get it via text message or email. Those kind of things just provide another layer of safety to help someone, to keep someone from getting at your number, getting at your information. Where possible, use facial recognition. Okay, I have an iPhone, so it uses Face ID for a lot of my security account. Now they have apps that provide a number. It's like another level of protection. I think on my one account I use a Google Authenticator is called, and that's the strongest method of two-factor authentication because they don't use your credentials that hackers can steal. They are physical devices that you use as your second authentication factor. So, and they use encryption to confirm that the key is associated with your account. That's what Fidelity uses now. And so there's a bunch of things out there to help you protect your information, but you have to use them. You have to make sure your passwords are strong. Every other week, I get a notice that my information has been compromised with some organization. I think the last couple I got, one was from the hospital, from a doctor that I had used. That hospital's database had been hacked, and they got all of my information. And you can actually go out on the dark web and see if your information is out there. If you use any things like LifeLock or Norton Protection, and I get all those free because my information has been hacked so many times, and all my information is on the dark web: social security number, date of birth, every place I've lived. And that's another reason why, we always tell you to keep your credit files frozen. Make sure they are frozen, obviously, unless you're planning on applying for a loan of some sort. If you're not planning on applying for any type of loan, there is no need for your credit files to be open. Keep them locked, keep them frozen. And be careful when you go, I believe it's Experian, because they're trying to be tricky. They have a product they're selling that's similar to a credit freeze, but they charge you money for it. Credit freezes are free with all three credit bureaus. Make sure your credit is frozen.
And we say this very regularly, you all. And this next one is another one that we don't take actions on, like what we talk about putting the credit freeze, what we talk about getting the IRS PIN. And this next one falls in line with what me and Dope talks about protecting your stuff, y'all, because it's you can't stop it, but you can prevent it. But this one is a little bit different. Back up your data. If you can't remember the last time you backed up your computer, now is the time to do it. And I know most people don't do this because it takes some extra steps and it takes some know-how too, because everybody don't know how to do that. If you don't have the time or knowledge needed to do a full system backup, focus on saving your personal files to like a flash drive, to a USB drive, or to an external hard drive. Or now you can save it to the iCloud. But you must save it in another place in case something happens to your computer. Because a lot of people, we got a lot of information on our computers. Now, if you have numerous photos and videos stored on your tablet or your smartphone, back them up to the cloud or transfer them. You can transfer them to the computer and back them up. Obviously, there's a lot of work involved in completing, many of these tasks. And like I said before, don't know, always telling you about protecting your credit, protecting your information. And this goes with it too, because it takes work, y'all. We don't do it, and I know for facts. I know some people on here that have not done it, you need to back up the data on your computers. And if you haven't, that's okay. Just take some personal files and download it to a flash drive, and you need to document all the passwords that you have. Put them on one file. And like I said, don't leave them on your computer.
Hey Bob, make sure it's password protected file. You don't want
Right.
anybody to get back.
Or just take them off, put them on a hard copy and put them in a safe. And that's the other thing I want to tell you. You need to get a fireproof safe, preferably a fireproof and waterproof. But most people are not in water. But you never know if your sprinkler system go off. But a fireproof and waterproof safe, and put your important documents like the passwords and all that stuff in there. Because don't you made me think about it when you said earlier about letting people know where your certain beneficiaries are. You need to certain people know, like you said, also about your online accounts, where to go, where to get to them, and put them in a safe place. And like I said, one safe place is not on your computer, but put them in make a hard copy, put it on paper and put it in the safe, and make sure you update it, because uh, you'd be in trouble. I know a lot of us if some of our computers just lost some of the information that we have on our computers.
Hey Bob,
So yeah,
one thing we I don't know if we've ever mentioned, but now your phones have so much information. Make sure you have a password code on your phone. I know people who don't, and that's just scary because there's so much information on your phones now. A lot of people have their bank accounts on your phone. And make sure that your phone locks in a minimum amount of time if you aren't using it, because it's so easy to lose. Somebody could steal it. And if they get your phone and it's unlocked, and for example, if you have an iPhone, they can steal your life because they can go in and change your iCloud, your Apple ID, and you won't be able to get to the cloud. Okay, and Apple will not let you do it if because they'll get in and change your ID, and if you don't know your ID, you can't get at your information, and Apple will not let you get it if your ID has been changed. And you can prove it's you 101 times, they still won't do it. And so make sure you safeguard your phone. Make sure your phone locks after a minimum amount of time. And also with your phone, make sure you keep it in a safe place. That's a lot of information's on there.
and Dope, for you people, especially you older people,
Us
to
older
make
people.
these
Us older people.
us older people. Thank you very much for that correction. They make these simple passwords. No, please make a better password than "Glory be to God." I think some people, if they know you're religious, they might can figure that out. But try to make, and like I said, just put them down in the safe place, and don't be holding them on your phone, or write them backwards on your phone in case somebody takes your phone. But just wanted to make that note. There you go, spring cleaning for financial spring cleaning for 2026. Thank you once again, everyone, and participating. As we always say, we like to give credit to our wonderful viewers. Rodney, by the way, Rodney Madison has he has a link to a site that says real estate, Fannie Mae to accept credit back. Whoa, security credit, crypto back mortgages for the first time. Whoa, now that's deep, though. Fannie Mae going to be accepting crypto-backed mortgages. Wow, that's interesting. So this is the link there. Y'all want to go out there, check it. Rodney put it out there for us. Thank you so much, Rodney. I'd like to say hello to my sisters Nolia and Linda. And once again, Gloria is absent. She's going to get demerits for being absent again. and she is now the trustee for a church, and now I know they wearing her out. She's the head trustee. Bless her soul. Congratulations. Joanne Skinner. What's up, Joanne Skinner? You always a winner. You know I love that. Garnett Nickens. What's up, Garnett? Maddie Ford, where you been, Maddie? Glad to see you. Hope you're still on, Maddie. Where you been, girl? One of FDIC's finest, dope. And Gilberto Frederick, my wonderful Joshua Group church member of the past. What's up, Gilberto? Glad to see you on. Oh, Gloria, I take it back. I didn't see you. Don't. I was talking about Gloria. My bad, Glo. She was on here. You just got on a little late. You know, better late than never. That's a good thing. Modestine, Lexington, South Carolina. I always want to say Kentucky for some reason. Glad to see you, Modestine, and thank you for your contribution. And the wonderful Kitty Cheney, Danville, Virginia's finest. You know, though, I don't know if you know about Danville, Virginia. That's where a bunch of slaves came from, by the way.
Oh, really?
Kitty has.
Where's Danville?
Virginia.
Where? I mean, where?
Uh,
Where in Virginia? What's it near?
Oh man, I don't know. Give us, hey Kitty, give us a city that we know.
Well, I can look at Google Maps. I can figure it out. I'm just curious. I've heard of it.
Like Kitty, put in here. Where's Danville close to? What city that we know of? Kitty crazy. She still got a Samsung Galaxy phone. What you got? A Cricket phone? And the wonderful Now Doty. What's up now? Hey, we're getting ready. Hopefully, see you in the coming months at a number celebration. It's a surprise, so I won't be saying whose it is. Oh, Glo says she's been on since 8:20. Well, thank you, Gloria. I didn't know you came on the late screen there. Thank you so much, everybody, for being on. And without any further ado, though, did you see what Dan Kitty? You ain't put with Dan. Oh,
yeah, north of Greensboro.
She said it's by Martinsville, Virginia, off of Route 29.
Wait a minute, you name another place I ain't never heard of.
I know I can say the same thing. I don't know where the Martinsville.
It's north of Greensboro. It's a little bit north of Greensboro.
Give us some place we know, Kitty. Oh, hey, Gilberto, what's up, Big Bob? Thank you and your co-host for information. Thank you for being on, Gilberto. Love you, man. Okay, 2.5. Oh, thank you, Kitty. No, 2.5 hours away from Richmond. 45-minute drive to Greensboro. Oh, it's way down there. Wow, I didn't know it was that far down there. Hey, Kitty, is it true that your great-grandfather was named Kunta Cheney? All right, I ain't messing with you no more. No, my infamous quotes of the week. This is a deep one, though, so pay attention.
I'm paying attention.
This is called the 4 F's of life. And one of those F's is not what you think. Number 1, find your purpose. Number 2, forgive your past. Number 3, focus on your present. And number 3,
number 4,
fuel your future.
Who?
Fuel your future.
Oh, okay.
Once again, find your purpose. Forgive your past. Focus on your present and fuel your future. Kitty said, stop it, Kitty. She said Dick Cheney was her late. Stop it. Stop it. Dick Cheney was your late grandfather. Stop that, Kitty. He's from Dansville. Anyway, y'all, thank y'all for being on. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for everyone's comment. And make sure you share with your people on Facebook. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube and tell more people. Though, for some reason, we got a lot of people following us, but there are a lot of people who, what's the word? The other thing for Facebook, to follow. No. One thing is to
subscribe.
No, it's not subscribe. You can look at us, but then there's a follow. We want you to follow us. Press the follow button. Because we stuck on 499, but yet every week we get, comments from new people, 20, 30 people. But, click on the follow button and follow us. And I'm sorry. There's 2 ways to do it. You click on friends or you click on follow. Though Kitty's going to be our historian, and not just historian, our current events person. That's why she's the Toastmaster extraordinaire. Palm Sunday is this Sunday. Thank you, Kitty. Beginning Passion Week, leading to Easter Sunday. Thank you, Kitty. I'll make sure I go and get me some palms. All right, make sure y'all go out there and get you some palms, especially Sarah Palmer. So look, y'all have a wonderful. You only know that joke though. Y'all have a wonderful week, y'all. Love y'all. Make sure we see you next week, same back channel. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen.